Hello and welcome to another edition of another book review. This week I'll be reviewing Edenville by Sam, I believe it's Rebelein. I'll talk very briefly about the author, go into a spoiler-free overview of the plot, talk about what I liked about the book, what I didn't like about the book, who I'd recommend the book to, and finish off with what I'll be reading for next time. This is the first published novel of Sam Rebelein. He recently completed his MFA, looks to be a relatively new author. He has a collection that's coming out, it looked like early next year, that looks like it used the setting of this novel. That's kind of a short story collection on his website. So I believe this is what he has published. He also looks like has had some short stuff done. Reading his bio, he also does memoir or writes memoir. This is a novel. This is a horror novel, and is concerning two main characters. Both of them are, I would say, older millennials. One of whom is a writer who in the novel writes a novel and is gains some kind of a small amount of fame and notoriety, which brings him to the attention of this kind of cabal. I don't want to call it a cult, but it's something like a cult in this place called Edenville, Edenville College, which is part of the, looks like Renfield, I believe is the county or the area in upstate New York. It's kind of similar to his, Stephen King gets name checked in the novel. It's kind of similar to his Derry, where it's this area where all these bad things happen, which I thought was kind of one of the highlights of the novel, was kind of the setting and kind of the creepy eeriness of the setting. But these two characters, the writer gets a job offer at this college, and he and his girlfriend move to this college, and the whole book is really him trying to understand what exactly is going on, how his novel that he wrote ties into this college in the town, and him kind of uncovering this mystery of this group of people and kind of the sinister underpinnings of the town. To give any more than that really would be spoiling it, so I don't want to do that. But that's essentially the book. I really liked this. I'm kind of a sucker for like creepy settings, and I thought the Renfield Edenville was very, very creepy. I think he has there's a good mixture of kind of body horror in the novel. There's a little just like things that are just vaguely unsettling. There's a little bit of cosmic horror in the novel. There's a lot of like grotesque body horror stuff. So it's kind of a mixed bag of things. I enjoyed that aspect of it. And I was kind of along for the ride. I enjoyed how weird and strange it was. It didn't really, I think, fit into any one box very cleanly. And I just enjoyed because it felt like a very unique thing. And I'm sure there are people who are much more versed in horror than I am that will be able to point to other antecedents that kind of fed into this. But for me, I enjoyed just kind of the weirdness of it and the kind of the mixing of these different things. It may be a little bit too long if I was going to ding it for some stuff. I think it's a little bit too long. Could have been trimmed. The action scenes, I think, could have been better written. But for the creepiness factor and the weirdness factor, I really enjoyed it. I think it did those things well. The characters are not very likable, and so if you're someone who needs likable characters, that also may be something that may be difficult for you. It's definitely a hard R novel. It is one of those things that is very horrific. I would not give this to a child. But someone who's in college or older should be able to handle it. It's not really that terrifyingly grotesque that you can't handle it. There's some authorial tics that kind of bothered me. I think, the characters in the novel are millennials. They talk like millennials. They curse all the time. There's a lot of profanity. There's one character who kind of constantly references her high school mascot that kind of got aggravating after a while. There could have been maybe a little bit more depth to the characters, and maybe there could have been more kind of character psychology in the beginning to make that kind of more of a timeless novel, to where these things kind of tied together a little bit cleaner. Sometimes it feels like the plot's kind of just thrown together. The plot doesn't make the most sense in the world, and you just have to kind of go along with it and just say, okay, I'm going to go wherever you lead me. I do like that there's kind of these like side characters in the novel who all have kind of very unique and distinct strange things about them, and I enjoyed that quite a bit, the weirdness of that. But what would be other things that I think were yeah, if you need likable characters, this is maybe not the book for you. I think more could have been done to make the characters more fully three dimensional. The main characters more fully three dimensional, and given maybe more of a backstory for some of them. One of the main characters in particular, why he is doing what he's doing. That would have added maybe a little bit to the length, but I think the book could have handled that. What was the other thing? There was one other thing that I'm now blanking on, and it's going to be remain a blank, I guess, forever. But that was the book, Edenville, by, again, I think it's Sam Rebelein. And I apologize, Sam, if I mispronounce the name. If you do get a chance to see it, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think there could have been more character development early in the beginning of the book. The characters, the other thing is, he has this issue where his characters are this is what I was going to say. His characters are self-aware, and so they realize that they are basically entering into what feels like a horror novel or horror movie, and they're self-aware to ask themselves, are we doing this? Are we really going to do this thing that we know the tropes of this genre? And whenever you do that, you have to basically kind of, if you introduce that into your characters, then you really have to find a way to make the characters say either, no, that's crazy, or yes, but we're going to double down and do it anyway. And neither one of those are particularly satisfying. And so this is one of the issues of dealing with characters who are kind of self-aware and understand what's going on. You know, could you have set this book in the past, and would you have gone around some of that stuff? Maybe that would have been a way to do it. But that was also one of those things where it's like, these characters are clearly self-aware enough. The main character is a horror writer. One of the main characters is a horror writer, and so he knows these tropes and what people do in these situations. And that never really felt super satisfactory for him to kind of, because he has to kind of play both sides of that. And I felt that was kind of, once he called attention to it, it was kind of a little bit like, I guess that's what we're doing. Other than that, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I don't read a ton of horror, and I find it oftentimes unsatisfying, but I enjoyed the ride here. I don't know how much I'm going to remember it, but I do think he did a very good job of introducing like really unique and strange weirdness into the book. The characters, the monsters are very monstrous, and I think he has like his own unique twist on this world, and some of the mythology that he was building I enjoyed. I thought that was weird enough to kind of keep me intrigued. There's some places where I maybe would have trimmed a little bit, but overall I definitely enjoyed it. That is Edenville. Next time I'm going to be reading American Reboot by Will Hurd. And if you've enjoyed this, please like the video. If you haven't had a chance already, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, bye.